Coming to you from the basement of Joe Mama's, a magical fantasy land that I only knew existed about a year ago. This is First in Fantasy, and I am your host, Mr. Nils. What's going on, guys? Week 3 is upon us. Week 2 behind us. Getting pumped up yet again. We're getting right in the thick of it. Season is, starting to roll along. We're starting to figure out who's the solid team, maybe not so good. Some surprise teams out there. Ton of injuries last week, which is really, really taking a toll on our teams so far. Some more than others. You got some terrible injuries from last week to high-profile guys. It's going to be tough, but I'm interested to see the moves that these guys make in this league because I think it's very intriguing, especially the amount of high-profile guys that have gotten hurt. Congrats to last week's winners. Matty Ice and Easy, Tough as Nils, both advancing to 2-0, along with surprise 2-0 story, an incredible story, Game of Maroons, Steve Mastrovic. Very, very interesting. That kid has taken it by the horns, and he's really came out gunning this year so far. Busted Kaepernick, Oh Cry Me Some Rivers, also victorious. Heisenbergers, another surprise 2-0 team. Didn't think he would be here, but he's there. And sooner, not later, will win also with a victory over Connor last week. I went 3-4 in my this past week, so overall 7-7 this year. So before I get into my week 3 picks, we have a special guest on the show with us today. So much controversy surrounding the NFL. I thought we would get a commissioner who really knows what he's doing and to come on the show with us. I think that the controversies surrounding the NFL so far with the whole AP situation, the whole Josh Gordon situation, Ray Rice, stuff like that. So we'll just get him on the show and we'll see what the deal is with him, see how he's doing. Mr. Commissioner, how are you doing today?
Mr. Nils, how are you? I'm doing well.
Oh, I'm just peachy. Just having my third show. It's getting pretty interesting here in the league, and I really just the whole deal with the NFL. Everything's going kind of crazy, over the past couple weeks. Just so many crazy things have happened, and I kind of wanted to get a guy on the show that really knows what he's doing, because you've run this league pretty flawlessly. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on some things, but first off. We're getting into week 3 here. It's great to have you on the show. So through 2 weeks so far, what are your impressions of this league so far?
I'd say my impressions overall. Love the intensity as usual. I love the fact that we have some teams setting themselves up for a playoff run. And then we have other teams like the Jimmy Owen Show and others that aren't doing well, 0-2. And my biggest surprise probably is Steve right now. I think he's doing really well. I think something we don't normally see from him. So I think that's a pleasant surprise, and it shows how even the league can be. But I would say my biggest thing between the first 3 weeks is kind of all the off-field stuff that we've had to deal with, and it's upsetting in the commissioner's office, that's for sure. And we've had a lot of issues, obviously. So.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that stuff as well, but in a few minutes. First off, I wanted to kind of get into more of the lighter side of this league, like you mentioned, a team like Steve, who's 2-0, or a team like Tony, who I kind of wrote off at the beginning of the year. He's also 2-0. You have a couple mainstays at the top of 2-0 there in Mr. Rockwood and CJ, both 2-0 as well. Right. But you get guys like Steve and Tony that start the year off 2-0. What do you think about that? I think it's a great time for the league.
It's a great time. It shows parity. It shows that, we have owners that actually care. I know in the past we've always went back and forth to actually, take the team seriously, but it shows that, the bottom is coming up. And I think it's a very good thing. Injuries is huge. Injuries, a lot of teams that I thought would be good on paper after draft day, they've been affected by pretty big injuries, Roger Griffin III, Jamal Charles out. We got Mark Ingram broke his hand. The injuries are just keep compiling on some of these teams, and it's only week 3, and some of these are serious injuries. So, it's Carney going out for the Texans defense. I mean, this is all big stuff that owners have to face right now. There's just not a lot of players out there in the waiver wire to fill these holes. So I think it leaves, 50 teams at the beginning of the year, they got a real shot here.
Yeah, I was talking about that earlier. It's very difficult with the amount of injuries, especially as big of a league that we are. There's just so many. There's not enough guys out there on the waiver wire. So I think that these injuries to, like you said, Jamal Charles, AJ Green, just a couple guys. Just I'm spitballing off my head. I'm sure there's a lot more that went down this past week, but I think that we're really going to figure out, who's made of something this year, especially with these big injuries. If these guys can come back, and AP being out indefinitely for Connor, those are tough moves that a owner has to make. But I think that we're really gonna find out exactly where these guys stand and how good of fantasy football players they really are.
And it's really going to come back to, did they do the preparation and draft day? Did they create a deep team, or they just taking like a long shot and hoping for glory? And this is going to really affect some teams if they didn't plan their roster accordingly.
Very well said. Very well said. But so last but not least, Commissioner, before I let you go, like we were talking about earlier, a lot of controversy in the NFL. Guys like AP, Ray Rice, Greg Hardy, Josh Gordon, just so many different storylines. As the commissioner of the WVU-FFL, what is your stance on all these predicaments, and what are you and your staff doing to help discipline these guys and really bring the WVU-FFL into a better light than the NFL is in right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It really is. These are grown men out there that we expect better things from. I mean, with the league, with the Players Association just passing the revision to the performance-enhancing drugs and their use and all that, I mean, we had to make a little bit of a revision on some of the suspensions that we had. And I don't fully agree with it, but it kind of is what it is, and I operate under a semi-democracy, so I take their opinion into account, and I'm okay with that. And the occasional weed here and there, I don't like it, but what are you going to do? But I'm very concerned about the stories with Ray Rice and AP. And when I saw the Ray Rice video, I wanted to throw up. I immediately said that this is not okay, and I changed my position. I mean, obviously Goodell issued that 3-game suspension that I had a chance to this year. He decided to step on my toes, and I folded that. I thought it was wrong, and he's an idiot. And when I go back and I look at AP, I just couldn't believe that the Vikings reinstated him a couple days ago. I mean, I didn't even get a chance to review all the situation regarding the case yet, and the Vikings said that he was going to play this week. So I called up Connor, and I called up the Green Team, and I said, look, man, you can't allow this guy to play. It's not happening. And, I had a little pushback from Stalker, and he didn't like it, but that's just how it's going to be. I mean, we are not going to play people who are abusing children and who are abusing women. It's not happening. So Connor was not happy about it when I told him he had to suspend 18 indefinitely, but that just is what it is, and that's going to be the precedent for this league. If players are going to act out of line in that regard, they're not playing.
I completely agree with you, Mr. Commissioner. We're almost out of time here, but we appreciate you coming on, and what you've done for this league. It's been incredible. I think you're doing all the right things. I don't think there's not much controversy going on in the WVU-FFL, that's for sure. So I think you got a strong grip on this league, and I think everybody respects you for it.
All right, well, Mr. Nichols, I appreciate what you're doing out there, and I'm always happy to join the show.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Have a good one, Coach.
You too.
All right. Call him Coach at the end there. I don't know why, but anyways, let's get right to the point here since we're running out of time. But just want to get to my picks of the week. First off, the game of the week. I'm going to rattle these off a little bit quicker than I have in the past just because, again, we're running out of time. The game of the week, the surprise 2-0 team, Game of Maroons, Steve, against Cry Me Some Rivers, Mike D. Steve, the surprising 2-0 team going up against 1-1 Mike D. Steve with Breeze. Better hope he doesn't throw to Jimmy Graham too often. Surprisingly, I think Steve's team is just getting better as the weeks roll on. I think that his guys are becoming more and more integrated in their offenses. So I think Steve gets this one. Moves to 3-0. 104-98 over Cry Me Some Rivers. Cruise Control versus Tough as Nils. Charles' injury could hurt CJ. I doubt he's going to play. Justin has some good matchups this week. I think Cruise Control comes out on top over Tough as Nils. I think the Gemiola show also edges 2-0 Heisenbergers as much as I liked Tony's story. I think Bill edges him by a narrow margin. Tough week for Bill last week, but I think he comes back strong in week 3. He wins this one over Tony. Josh may be regretting another season in WVU-FFL as he is 0-2, and I don't think it changes this week with perhaps the best team in the league going up against him. Maddie, Ice, and Easy over Backfields and McCoy. Ryan moves to 3-0, Josh to 0-3. The 0-2 with Peyton on your team is not what Jim was expecting this season, but AP being out and AJ Green questionable for Connor bodes well for Mr. Dodd. Peyton Sandy Cabana gets his first win of the year over Dream Creamers. Jeremy projected to win this matchup. I think the Gemiolos find a way to get this one done with so many questions on Jeremy's team. Sooner, not later, will win over Team 215 Bad Boy. 0-2 Jared as well, another surprise 0-2 team, has some tough matchups this week. And he also has Romo throwing to Arthur's Des Bryant. I think the matchups favor Denman in this one. So I think Busta Kaepernick takes this one over. Get off my Ditka. I want to get above 500 this week. That's what my goal is. 7-7, not good enough. So guys, another week gone. Thanks for the commissioner coming on the show. We're ready to go. Thursday night football in a day or so. Get out there and play, guys, and hope that that injury bug doesn't hit you because it's hit so many guys already. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for listening to First in Fantasy.